Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And we are going to be talking about a lot of bright light, because if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is The Beginning of the End. And that is because last Sunday we had a fantastic solar eclipse at 0 degrees of Cancer. And a solar eclipse is always a new moon, so certainly there would be a new beginning, but it was in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is the traditional ruler of the fourth house of home and last half of life. It rules endings. So that's why we are going to be seeing the beginning of the end somewhere in our lives, and the effect of an eclipse lasts for 6 months. So that could go throughout the summer and into the fall as well. And that is because the sun and the new moon in Cancer, along with Mercury in Cancer, are being trined by Mercury, or by Mars, and by Neptune in Pisces. But they are also being sorely challenged by planets in Capricorn, and that is because Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn are both retrograde, and they are opposing this wonderful new moon solar eclipse in Cancer. But because that solar eclipse is backed up by Neptune and Mars in Pisces, it's got a lot of support right now. And that's why there can be some feeling that the beginning that is going underway is a beginning that may dismantle forces that have been in power for a long time, or their influence has been around for a long time. In fact, for a whole generation of time. And a generation is usually 20 to 25 years. So who are the people or the organizations that are going to be affected by this beginning of the end? Well, they could be gangs. They could be drug cartels. They could be political organizations or community organizations that promote fear and hate and division. So, if they've been promoting that throughout a generation of time, boy, they could be pretty firmly entrenched. But Cancer rules America, and it rules things that involve American freedom and independence. And so that's why it's the beginning of the end of this rather cruel domination or manipulation of people that can be controlled by others who think that they are much more powerful. For instance, it could be also by people who are big money moguls. In other words, they have more money than they really need, and they have even more contempt for people who get in their way. And so they are their power can be weakening now or waning as they are challenged in one way or another, because the planets in Capricorn are definitely opposing and challenging the planets in Capricorn, or in Cancer. But those planets in Cancer are really well backed up. So we do see the beginning of the end. And because there is strength in the water signs, it means a wound will be able to heal once we see the beginning of the end, or the disruption or the weakening of these powerful groups that have been around for a generation of time. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, let's start with Aries. Aries, you should be a little bit careful right now. You want to know why? Because there are no planets in the fire signs, and that simply means there's no support. It also means that things are not going to happen too quickly, because there's no incentive to do that, and people are more or less sort of treading water and waiting to see what happens. And I would do that if I were you, Aries. I wouldn't make too many bold moves right now, because that solar eclipse squared your sun, and the planets in Capricorn also square your sun. And those planets, even though they're opposing each other, they are all well backed up, and your sign is not. So I would say you don't have to much defense around you right now, and that's why you'd best not take a risk on anything, Aries, because there's no guarantee that you would win it. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when you can do very well, and yet you're almost over a time when you have been severely threatened. It could have been financially threatened, and that is because Saturn now is retrograde in Aquarius, and it has retrograded all the way back to the first degree of Aquarius. It's going to leave and go into Capricorn, but while it's been in Aquarius, it has been squaring your sun, Taurus, and that simply means that your future may have been a little iffy, a little up in the air. And now that period of time is coming to an end, and instead the planets that are in Capricorn are trining your sun. So I think better days are ahead for you, Taurus. It's just that I don't want you to move too fast either, for the same reason as Aries, because there's no planets in fire signs. So just slow down and keep working hard, Taurus. There's going to be a good payoff for that. What does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, Venus is still in your sign. It is now retrograde. It's about to go to rec, but right now it's retrograde, and it is beautifully trining that Saturn in Aquarius, which is also retrograde. So it really is best for you to rely on old friends or people that you trust, because that simply means that they'll be there for you or they'll help you through. And on top of that, the solar eclipse last Sunday was right ahead of your sun sign. So there's a lot of light, the sun and the moon. And remember, the moon rules Cancer. It's actually stronger than the sun. And Mercury was in Cancer as well. So it may be that you are thinking about a move or a family matter or some sort of real estate deal. And you know, since Venus is in your sign, you can be absolutely charming, and things can work out pretty well for you right now, Gemini, as long as you have that backup of old friends, or even if you want to go back to an old idea you had, you should do that, because it was probably a pretty good one, and now would be the time to revive it. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, the solar eclipse is in your sign. Isn't that wonderful? Because solar eclipses always denote new beginnings. So of course you're going to make a new beginning, Cancer. But I mean, it's not like you can just coast into it. And the reason why is that although Mars and Neptune in Pisces are trining your sun, since Pisces rules deceptions behind the scenes, it simply means there's going to be a lot of information coming out about covert activities. And because it is trining your sun, and a trine doesn't hurt you at all, in fact it helps you, it may be that as you find out secret information behind the scenes, that it could have a really awful effect. In other words, it could be even worse than you thought, Cancer, but it wouldn't hurt you. It's just that you may not have known the full truth about something, and you are going to learn it, and it could be very disillusioning. And if you do want to make a new start, remember it's a new start for America because it's in America's sun sign, you are going to have to adhere to policies or plans that are set up by higher management in corporations or government agencies, because the planets in Capricorn oppose your sun sign. So okay, you could even be somewhat subject to budget cuts or delays of some type. They would not be really bad delays though. They might be necessary delays. And so you are still going to be able to make a new start. Just be very patient, and remember, if there's nothing in fire signs, nothing's going to happen too fast. And besides, there are 5 retrograde planets right now. A lot of people who want to zoom ahead could do that, except they still have to go back and sort of tie up a lot of loose ends first. And that's what we can do this summer. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when there can be a lot of light in the background of your life, and that is because the solar eclipse was right behind your sun sign on Sunday, and that means the sun, the new moon, and Mercury were all there, which is wonderful. It means that you're more popular behind the scenes than you realize, Leo, which is nice. And it also means that you can be looking at a home matter or a family matter or a real estate matter in a new light. and you can be maybe appreciating people around you even more than before, which is very good. There's also the possibility you could be thinking of starting a business in your home, and that would be great. Any kind of a business. So that potential is there for you, Leo, and you might want to pay a little more attention to what's going on behind the scenes, because with no planets in fire signs, you could do an awful lot behind the scenes that would benefit you if you wanted to, without too many other people noticing. So why don't you give that a try? Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a new moon that benefits you very well, just as it benefits Taurus. And the reason why is that the solar eclipse in Cancer last Sunday, with the sun, new moon, and Mercury, your own ruler in that sign, all sextiled your sun. So that's a helpful aspect. It simply means you can have some nice opportunities around, even in your home or with your family members, that would work out pretty well, or with a real estate matter. And then on top of that, Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun, and Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn are also trining your sun. If you're spending the summer sort of cleaning house or winding up affairs and sort of getting ready to be in a good position by your birthday, that would be a good idea, Virgo, because you really do have to get extremely organized at the base of your life so that you can advance this fall, which you are well aspected to do. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you should sort of tiptoe through the tulips and be real quiet about it. And the reason why is because the solar eclipse in Cancer with the sun, moon, and Mercury were all squaring your sun sign. But on top of that, Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn are also squaring your sun sign. And that means you can feel right now like you're caught between a rock and a hard place. You can't fulfill all your duties with your family members, and you can't exactly concentrate completely on a work or a career effort as well. And so, you can be pulled in two different directions. But at the same time, your future could be looking better if you step back a little bit, Libra, and you realize that you can be very popular with people just in a casual way, because your ruler, Venus in Gemini, is trining your sun. And you can be popular with people that have known you for a long time that may be coming back in your life, because Saturn in Aquarius is also trining your sun. So this can be a rather comfortable time for you, Libra, as long as you don't reach out and try to make everybody else happy. Just relax a little bit, because you've got some good things going for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when this solar eclipse is really going to benefit you. And that's because the sun, new moon, and Mercury were in Cancer, all trining your sun. And Mars and Neptune in Pisces were also trining your sun. So just like Cancer, you are going to learn some nitty-gritty truth behind the scenes, which is just awful. But you'll also find ways to make sure that justice is done. It's just that you're going to be somewhat disillusioned when the real truth comes out about hidden activities behind the scenes. But at the same time, you're starting to develop a stronger and stronger business ethic or business attitude, and that will continue. So I would advise you to keep your mind on business, Scorpio. And if you have to react in a disparaging way when you find out the real truth about justice, just do it real privately and then put a smile on your face to everyone else if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when you have to be very, very careful, because Neptune and Mars in Pisces, remember, it rules omissions and deceptions and covert activities behind the scenes. Those two planets are squaring your sun, Sagittarius, and there are no planets in the fire signs. The fire signs are very vulnerable right now because they have no support, and you're being threatened by what you might call evil characters. And so you have to be very careful right now, sort of be on the up and up, Sagittarius, and do your best right now. But really stay away from anybody who's being overly aggressive or who you think may be lying to you, because they probably are. So I wouldn't take too many chances right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a wonderful time for you because you can feel as if you're gathering strength slowly but surely, and that's the way you like to work anyway, Capricorn, because Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn are opposing the solar eclipse in Cancer, or they were on Sunday. And so that means you're having to be more adaptable at home, because it's a very good solar eclipse in Cancer, and that means that we can't all be working all the time, or we can't be delegating our parental duties or our family duties to other people. It's time we sort of got together, because sometimes when planets oppose each other, they draw things to them. And so maybe you just have to sit down and work with your family a little bit, or stay in touch somehow, and then keep going on your career, Capricorn. I think you can do it because you have support all year long from Uranus and Taurus. So don't worry, better days are ahead. But you can't turn your back on your family or some sort of real estate deal. You really have to pay attention to that now. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, Venus, or I mean Saturn, is right at 1 degree. It's retrograding in your sign, and it's retrograded all the way back to the beginning of your sign. And so it actually is conjuncting Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn. All three planets are pretty close in alignment in their orbits. And so that is an indication that you have passed through a very difficult time this spring, Aquarius. And you know it's not quite over, but it's getting there. Things are getting better for you. And the problems that you have had to face this spring have been a heavy burden on your shoulders, but I think that you're going to make it through, and you're going to find a way to succeed. So you can. Also, I don't think you're going to have quite the financial troubles going forward that you had this spring. So good luck and keep going. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a wonderful solar eclipse for you because it trines your sun. And that's because the sun, new moon, and Mercury in Cancer trine your sun, where you have Mars and Neptune. So Pisces, since you have Mars in your sign, and it's not happy in a peaceful sign like yours, because Mars is a planet of aggression, jealousy, greed, hate, and envy, I would say, you know, try to stay calm, Pisces, and try not to be around people who sort of have a short fuse and could easily sort of blow up. You need to stay away from people like that, because they could hurt you. And right when they say they're going to help you, they could hurt you instead, Pisces. Instead, concentrate on your home and your family and real estate matters, because that's what Cancer represents, and that solar eclipse was trining your sun. So if there was going to be any peacemaking in your life, Pisces, why don't you make it with your family members? I think they'd be very happy with that. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.